Welcome to Toffee TV. It is the match preview. Everton versus Manchester City. 5:30 Saturday. Goodison Park. What is sure to be a tough game. The toughest game Frank Lampard has had, certainly at home. And a very, very difficult game where Everton could do with picking up some points.
Couldn't ask for a bigger ask, really, could you? It's weird, isn't it, this fixture, because this used to be a game that you just think, yeah, we'll beat them. We'd always beat Man City. Even at the start of their successful period, we were still having good results against them. Won a lot of way at their place and all that. But I've just seen Everton have won one of the last 17 fixtures against Manchester City.
Yeah.
And it was the 4-0, which is embarrassing, isn't it? And we've lost 8 consecutive games against them.
Yeah.
Only Portsmouth and United have lost ever more consecutively in their history against the one opposition than we have. So, poor.
Yeah.
It's poor.
It is.
But they are, they're an amazing football team, which is the reason why the record is that bad. But other teams have bloodied City's nose over the years. Even poor teams have beat them. You think of Norwich a couple of years ago, we got relegated to beat City at home and teams like that. We've seen Spurs who've been in awful form last week.
Spurs are their bogey team.
Well, yeah, no, that's what I mean. But Spurs haven't been in good form. Just lost 2 home games on the run and went to City and won at the weekend. So they're not totally unbeatable, but they're as close to it as teams are in the Premier League.
Yeah, it's
certainly for us.
It is a difficult one. It's in one part, one thing you're thinking, let's just get it over and done with and get through it and move on to the next game at home, and just get on with things. And then another thing, where you think about it, well, Man City got beat last week. They drew at Southampton. They're feeling the pressure now of Liverpool. Can Everton capitalise on them feeling a bit of pressure? Do they come to Goodison feeling the pressure just as much as we are? Can we turn that to our advantage? Well, of course we can if we play well and everyone does their job and everyone does what they're asked and they're maybe not on it fully, and snatch at chances or we can get enough men behind the ball to frustrate them. So I think it's like every game, isn't it? It's how we approach it. It's how we look at it. For us, it's a pressurised game because Frank Lampard obviously won his first home game against Leeds, but the 2 Premier League away games have been awful. So that means the pressure's on us. We're relying on home form, and we can't. You can't just dismiss a game because it's against Manchester City, because we've got to play Chelsea. We've got to play, Manchester United at home. You can't just dismiss these games because we haven't got enough of the games. We've got tough games against Wolves and Newcastle coming up. So we can't just dismiss anything. So for me, obviously, we have to be perfect. But Spurs have just shown how to beat them, I suppose, and how to score 3 times against them. So we've got to be, we've got to just do our side of the thing, isn't it? We've got to, because loads of those games, what I would say is, loads of those games against City, Everton just rolled over and their bellies tickled, and that's the problem. When you play good sides and you have a real go, and you get beat, you can walk off and with your head high and go, they're a better side than us. But far too many times against Manchester City, we have just rolled over and just said, there you go, mate. So it's got to, we've just got to be a little bit more to what we do in this game.
Yeah, in general, at Goodison the last few, we have had a bit of a go. Certainly, I can think of the Marco Silva was in charge. They beat us 2-0. And it was a tight game, and we were in terrible form. He got a goal in injury time at both halves. The year later, they beat us 3-1 with Marco Silva, but Don missed a great chance at 2-1 to make it 2-2. With Carlo Ancelotti, we had to go in
the cup last year, didn't we?
But the cup, the quarter-final, they beat us 3-1 last year in the league, and it was 2-1, and we were in the game, and then Mahrez scored, didn't he? Mahrez scored. And in the cup, it was 0-0 till the 83rd minute. And my dad threw off the line, hadn't we, off a set piece. you know, and they score to make it Gundogan scores, doesn't he? And then obviously they put it to bed. But so we were in the games without being in. The only thing I would say was the cup game. We had those 2 set pieces, but we nearly do anything else, and we were just keeping it tight, weren't we? Where the league game, I thought we were, you know, Richarlison scored. We was the first goal they'd let in for a while. We were in that game, and I think that's the big thing, is that we've got to make sure that, like you've just said, we're perfect. We've got to do what we did against Leeds, which is harry, put pressure on, don't let them get shots away. Hope the crowd can influence it, because there's going to be long periods when we don't have the ball. They dominate the ball every week. They have 75+% possession, and Saturday will be no different, I imagine. So what we've got to do is make sure we do all the ugly side of the game. You're hoping for Everton to get a result at the weekend. We've got to be perfect, and they've got to have a bit of an off day, which happens every now and again. And we've got to be clinical. If we get chances, when the chances come our way, if we make chances, we've got to take them. And that'll be the only way we'll get a result, because they are a fantastic side. Yes, they've had a couple of results that are not typical for them. So you have to capitalise while they're on that little bit of a run. Is there a little bit of doubt in the mind? Just left 3 goals, and in fact Spurs scored 4. They had 1 disallowed by VAR, so they had the ball in an F4 time. So you can play on that a little bit and hope that there's a little bit of a nervousness about them. And obviously Liverpool aren't playing at the weekend in the Premier League, so City, for them the pressure is we need to win, keep the gap. You know, if Everton were to win, then Liverpool, I think, could go level with them if they won their 2 games in hand or whatever it is. So it is tight at the top, and it's up to Everton to try to feed into that. But you're absolutely right, we can't just write it off and go, well, it's Man City, so we're expected to get beat. Even if we got a point, any point right now, adding on to your total is huge.
And also, I think the other side of that, though, is that Everton have got to get themselves into a level of performance. Home and away. And if you play Manchester City and you play really well and you get beat, but you keep that level you have against Leeds, and then you take it into the next game. You know, Bournemouth, and then you go to Spurs, and you've got that level. Then that will eventually turn into more points, of course it will. I think that's the problem so far, is the Jekyll and Hyde nature of the 4 games. 2 home games being good, 2 away games being pretty poor. We've got to get to a level where we're going to every game knowing what we're going to get from the players, and they understand. And that'll come with more coaching, and obviously, hopefully, I think the manager mentioned it last week. He says, you know, when we conceded the goal, they went back to the default setting. He's got to implant the new default setting, which is that never gets left. What they do, and that means consistent performances. So listen, if we go up against City on Saturday and we do well and we have a good go, and it doesn't necessarily go our way, but then again, that's the performance we're seeing, like the performance against Leeds, like the performance against Brentford, Spurs, Newcastle, Wolves before that. If every game we're seeing that performance, we will start picking up the points and hopefully, you know, the wins. And that's all I'm looking for out of this game. You know, I can't honestly sit here and say we're going to win, we've got a great chance, blah, blah, blah. I just want to see a level of performance. I want to see Goodison like it was against Leeds as well. So we're keeping that going. So Man City players feel that pressure, and the Everton fans know that we're behind them. Because that's what's going to get us out of trouble. Because going from one week to another, it's having this Jekyll and Hyde, you know, good performance, bad performance, good performance. It's not good for us in our mental states. Because 1 week you're on the floor, and it's very easy to say, oh, you don't get too high when you win and don't get too low. But it's, you know, it's nearly...
How can't you?
We're going into March very soon. We're starting to all feel that little bit of pressure, but for the players have got to get that level, because they'll feel like if they take those performances into those other games, they'll start picking up more wins.
Well, it's the demands for each other as well, though. If you start getting a level of performance, you're looking at each other for that level of performance. Whereas if 1 week you're all great and the next week you're all terrible, that's not going to get you enough points. So they do have to get it, because it needs to be an acceptable level of performance, and then if 2 or 3 you drop below that, you're out the team the next 2, and that's how it is. If 11 if you do it, it's hard for the manager, isn't it? It's hard to get anything going. So it's a huge game, It's a hugely difficult game, but it's a game that they're going to have to battle and fight and scrap for, and hopefully they'll come out the other side with a positive result. But like you said, if not, at least put in a positive display where you've got something to build on then for the next game. But it's a home game, and Southampton were able to take a point off them the other week. So, like I said, we will have to rely on them, maybe having a bit of an off day, missing chances or whatever. But just don't give them chances. Make sure, we didn't give Leeds any chance. No, but no, it's difficult because they're amazing.
Yeah.
We know that. But all you can do is do your job.
Go
1v1, each player, win your battle, and hope that they snatch at things. And, you get in front, and then the hostility and the crowd can unsettle them a little bit, and you can take advantage of it. That's all that happened when we beat them 4-0. I think we had about 6 shots that day, and we beat them 4-0. They had all the ball, they missed chances, the crowd were up for it, and when we got the chances, we were ruthless.
Yeah.
And we ended up with a great result, and that's what you have to do sometimes, and Everton haven't done enough of that. So, let's just battle and scrap and see where we end up.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to have a little look at Sterling's numbers. We could have picked anyone,
Yeah.
to be fair, but Sterling, 22 performances, appearances, 16 starts, 10 goals, 1 assist, 2 shots per game. Recently, he's picked it up recently, hasn't he? It's funny the way the City players, it's like they take turns.
Yeah.
It's scary, and recently he sort of took that up. I think he got a hat-trick at Norwich, didn't he, recently, and scored a great goal away at in Portugal, Sporting Lisbon in the Champions League. And it's just weird, like at the beginning of the season, it was like Bernardo Silva, and then someone else, then Mahrez will take over, and then Foden, and it's just, it is scary, it is very scary. You could pick anyone. Bernardo Silva's performance against Sporting Lisbon was just unbelievable. So it is very, very hard, because you can't really double up on anyone. You can't really, you just have to, if you get chances, you have to take them. That's the difference, you have to take them.
Don't take chances as well.
No.
Don't mess
Don't
around.
play out from the back.
Don't do
They love it.
What you were doing at Southampton. Don't do it when you've got time to do it, and it doesn't have to be always, but other times, turn people, get them turned. Dom's great in the air. Kane scored a good header the other day, but Kyle Walker wasn't even interested. Just stood there while Kane went above him. Dom jumps 3 times as high as Kane, so, you use him to that. Let him test himself against people, get them turned. When you can play. But don't be getting caught like we did by Southampton, because City are 3 times, 4 times, 5 times as good as that.
Let's just have a look at the lineup from the City game as well.
From the Spurs game?
Spurs game, yeah.
So obviously the 4-3-3 there, but that front three they can just rotate it however they want. You've got Silva, Foden in there at times, Mahrez in there. I believe Gabriel Jesus is back in training, could be in the squad. He loves a goal against Everton. There's too many of them really to be able to go, we need to just mark him out the game, or we mark him out the game. Because they've got such a wonderful array of talent, and what you've seen at this last game, Pep could change 5 of them for another 5 world-class players. Raheem Sterling, like you just said, started to score again. They really have got so much attacking talent. Jack Grealish, they're all there. They're there, and that's why they're the best team in the country. And the way to beat the best team in the country is you need everything to go your way on the day, generally. Especially for a team like us, when you're near the top fighting, it's a different thing. But for us, we'd need everything to go our way. We'd need to be slice of luck, maybe get a VAR decision for once on our favour. But every player must do their job and do it better than City's players on the day. If that happens and the crowd help, anything. Do
we change formation? Do we go to more of a 3 in midfield and start looking at, maybe changing things around a little bit?
Yeah, 4-4-2 we'd be destroyed by them. Yeah. I think we'd be destroyed by them. They don't play a natural formation anyway. City, they pop up all over the gap. So you've got to have people who can run around in there. Obviously, Abdoulaye Doucouré looks like he's going to be available. That's huge for us. Allen in there, Donny van der Beek, they'd be my 3 for the weekend. Obviously, Van der Beek will want the ball and likes to take it. But if you've got Doucouré, you can cut things off because of he has loads of ball recoveries and stuff like that. He gets around the pitch. And then after Charles and Damari Gray's fit again, it looks like, got a good chance of being available at the weekend, apparently. So whether he's fit enough to start or whatever, but if he isn't, have, Anthony Gordon on one side, Richarlison on the other, and Dom through the middle, and, at times drop into a 5 in midfield and make it difficult. Then a full-back, that's the other one, I imagine he'll play Coleman this weekend, but does he keep Kenny in, or does he play Michalenko and go, we need that balance with the left foot? Just, if we do get over the halfway line, someone to put the ball in or whatever, or does he say, well, Kenny might be a little bit more defensive in the crowd? They're the big decisions for him, but without a shadow, it's got to be 3 in midfield for me. Got to be. 4-4-2 won't work against these. It has to be 3 in midfield. And I think that way, you can, like I said, you can make it a 5 in there and make it really difficult for them to pass through you. With 4-4-2, I think they just run round us. They just pick the ball up and run past us because
they would.
The likes of especially if Gomez was in the side or whatever, which I don't think he will.
No.
But so that for me, it's got to be a 4-3-3 and try to just say to the core, try to break forward if you can and get up and support Dom and make sure we do have the double pivot left in place with Van der Beek and the core in each swap. And say to Alan, you do have to sit and be disciplined, mate. You can't go charging around after players because they drag you out of position. They just go bump, 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 and through. No, and we saw it at the Etihad earlier in the season. Under Benitez, it was all right for a little bit. We had a bit of shape, but then the minute they cut us open and went 1-0 up, it was they just won it at a canter, didn't they? And even then, we made a couple of mistakes for the other goals, but they won it at a cancer.
Wasn't hard work, was it, really? No. That's it. That's all. That's it. That's happened far too many times. It's been far too easy for them. We just give them mistakes, stand off, and just allow them to score easy goals. And that has to change. And I'm sure the players will be up for it, and I'm sure the fans will be up for it. And as I said, just try and get a performance that is equal to the Leeds game.
Well, if the crowd can be the way they were against Leeds, and that was huge, if the fans, and I think they will, if the crowd can be like that, then at least you get that adrenaline into the players that they know they have to win. We know we're better at home than we are away. Yeah. So therefore, we have to
take advantage of it.
And us as fans, that's our only thing we can do. We haven't got the shirt on. We can't do the extra run, and all we can do is do exactly what we did against Leeds and make noisy and boo them when they've got the ball and support your team, and who knows what comes of it.
Aye, we'll see what happens.
So this is like probably to me, this is the most difficult, certainly for the home games. Every other home game, like the derby and stuff, at times you think, well, it's a derby and this can happen, but City are like so robotic, they're such a machine that it's always a difficult one.
No emotion involved for them, certainly for them anyway. Yeah, there you go. Very difficult game. Very difficult game.
I mean, they had so incredible facts, like Man City have won each of the last 4 away games. Like Everton, which was as many as they had in the previous 20 visits, which shows you how much they've turned. Everton have lost 13 of their 23 Premier League games this season, which is as many as they suffered in the whole of 2021 season. 12 of those defeats have come in the last 16 games. City are unbeaten in their last 12 Premier League away games since they lost at Spurs on the opening day.
Told you, bogey team.
So they haven't lost since the first game of the season away. So they're due an away defeat. And then they can win every other game 8-0 till the end of the season. No side has scored fewer first half goals in the Premier League than Everton, with 8. Manchester City have scored more first half goals more first half goals, 30, and second half goals, 33 than Everton have in total. That's good. So their first half goals have more than our totals. Pep's won 24 of his last 25 games against English managers. Dom hasn't scored since August. And Riyad Mahrez had scored and assisted 1 million goals apparently this season.
Boss, thanks for that, Baz. Thanks for that, Baz. I feel all warm and fluffy inside now.
It's a double bluff to City.
Okay.
Because we know Pep will play this to their players and they'll be like, yeah, we always win and he'll be off it and we'll win it.
Exactly.
Job done.
There you go. Yeah, Let's see what happens. Just if you're going, just be loud.
Enjoy it. Be
just
loud.
be loud. Just be loud. Dead simple. Just be loud. Make sure you give this video a like. Subscribe if you haven't already. If you want more great videos, join us over on Patreon. And make sure you check out the Ultimate Fan app as well. The link is in the description. Thanks for watching. See you later.